Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Radio here with a vlog. Obviously, I'm just literally waking up a little bit. I'm still kind of cramped up a little bit, feeling a little stiff and tired, man, because as you could tell a couple days ago on Saturday, we had good old Grand Rapids Riverfest. I still got my pass right here, or my volunteer thing, but little keepsake I figure I'd keep. I gotta say, man, Riverfest was just an amazing get together, really amazing festival. So I thought I'd do this video to just, talk to all of you about how it went, Obviously, I posted something in my post sections. I posted it on my social media. So you guys can all check that out for yourselves. But basically, it just started like this. My day really started at 3 a.m. on Saturday, so to speak. I had only about 5.5 hours to 6 hours of sleep because after my radio show that I did on Friday, I went out to a couple pre-gaming parties, went to one of my favorite bars, drank there until at least 8:30, 9 o'clock-ish, then went home, went to bed. Then just woke up at 3 because I was just too excited, too anxious to just want to get to it, I stayed up, made myself some food to eat because I was going to need something to eat. Then I ended up heading over there around 6 a.m.-ish, even though we didn't really have to be there till like 9, 10 a.m. But I wanted to get there early because I wanted my day to last as long as it could. So I just sat there, minding my own business, listening to some music. Oh, of course, I had to listen to Blue Oyster Cult's whole album, Imaginos, for when I walked over there, and just while I was sitting there waiting. Then everything finally started picking up. Went and helped out with the sound and stage stuff as a roadie for the third time. It turned out really great. The only real fucking issue that I had was the weather. Because for like 10 to 20 minutes, it would rain, and then it would stop, and the sun would be out for at least only 5 minutes, and then it would rain again, and then it just stopped raining. And it was going on and on and on until 8 o'clock at least. It was, in my opinion, I think this Riverfest might have been maybe the most chaotic one that I've been at, not just because of the weather, but because of a flight delay that happened to one of the headliners, which I will get into in just a moment. But it was just insane. We had to literally, it was twice that we literally had to mop the stage so that the artists would not slip and fall. Twice! And I don't even know how many towels or hand rags that we used, but we pretty much used a lot of them. And we even had to get one of the main staffers at the radio station to bring us more towels in case we needed them. But by the time we needed them, it stopped raining completely. I'm just like, why? Why? So let's get into the headliners while listening to them. I got the opportunity and honor to meet them once again. The first one, of course, was Alan Sparhawk. He was pretty amazing. There was a album that he released in 2024 called White Roses, My God, I believe. And he did something with his voice that sounded electronic in nature. And it was like electronic, like music. Like experimental stuff. And I asked him, how do you do that? And he said that he had a modulator that's connected to his microphone where he could change the frequency of his voice so that even though it wouldn't be his actual voice, it was a different type of voice. Of course, I had to open my big mouth and say this. When I was talking to him, I ended up mentioning his song Get Still, which I will include in the description below so you can give it a listen. And I said to him that the sound of that song in particular, which was one of the songs that I played on my radio show on Friday, it sounds like something that goes on in my demented autistic brain. And what does he do? He fucking does a sound check and performs that song first on his set. And it was because of that, I think he trolled me. Nah, Sparhawk straight up was trolling me, man. And we had my music director, who was the MC, Master of Ceremonies of the whole entire shindig, and she just nearly lost it, breaking down in laughter. Oh my god. Because they got there an hour early, they were looking to kill some time. So, and of course, we all know they needed to find a way to kill time, so they were just there bullshitting, talking, and whatnot. And yeah, just pretty much it. One of his session musicians who was there is from here in Grand Rapids. I got an opportunity to meet him. I got an opportunity to get to know him. He's a pretty cool guy. And of course, Alan, I thanked him for coming. He was just awesome, man. He is like a rock and roller. During his set, they were trying to do a modification to the bass for it to have a unique sound. He does the one simple thing that I have never seen done before during a live show like that. Alan Sparhawk did a Q&A session where some of the fans in attendance could ask him questions and he would answer it and all that. And someone ended up making a question or making a crack about Robert Plant, and he was just there like, oh, he would always ask me for advice. I was thinking about asking him a question, but I couldn't think of one that was really fucking dumb. But yeah, his set, I would say, was really, really good. He even did some songs, like not just from his first album, which was all that experimental stuff with that high pitched ass voice modulation, but he also included songs that he did with Trampled by Turtles, a band from Duluth, where Sparhawk is from, and he did some of those sets. Trampled by Turtles, of course, was not there, or maybe one of their members was. I don't really know. But it was amazing. And he stayed for almost the majority of the entire thing. I think he ended up leaving before Courtney Barnett went on, but he seemed to have had a really good time. Okay, so now we get on to Jeremy Albino, who's from Canada, and right as Alan Sparhawk and his band, his live band, were coming in, our music director ended up was notified by Albino's management that his flight got delayed by an hour. And we were there like trying to figure out what are we gonna do, or they were trying to figure out what they were gonna do, like if they were gonna have a Sparhawk's entire set extend a little bit, and it feel like he did manage to do something like that. Maybe that Q&A I think kind of helped. But Albino and his entire band were able to make it. And I helped him grab one of his bags, as they were unloading stuff, because they didn't have time to really change or whatnot. They literally had to change while they were on their way here, and even right behind the stage. I asked Albino, what caused the flight delay? Was it the weather? Because we were dealing with weather of our own. And he said, no, there was some issue with the flight schedule, or, the technology, or whatever it is that caused the delay. We were literally, he said, and I quote, we were literally standing there in the lobby for a whole hour waiting for us to get here. They managed to make it, I think, at least by like maybe 20 to 30 minutes before their set. They looked fatigued. They looked, exhausted by the travel, but in the end, they still managed to make a really, really great set. Mr. Albino in particular, he was some of his members were wearing like vests, or one of them was, and he asked me for his input on it when he put the vest on. I said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Yeah, wear it." And he said, "Okay, I'll do it." They went on. They had a really great set. I think probably weather-wise, the worst of the rain was happening during his set. They were getting drenched on everything, it all, but they still soldiered on through it. Great set overall. And then just as their set was concluding, or as it was starting to near its conclusion, a rainbow came out. And of course, one of my fellow volunteers ended up making a post about it of something like something with Judy Garland and the Wizard of Oz. And of course, Judy Garland's from here in Grand Rapids. And she said that almost felt so fitting that a rainbow would come out like it did. And in my opinion, she was right. Great set from Mr. Albino, man. Like, his stuff was almost like that 50s style stuff. They dressed like they were from the 50s. It almost felt nostalgic or vintage for all those who lived in the 50s. And I do believe we had some old timers that were there and they actually really did enjoy it. So we go on to our next one, who was one of the bigger names, Margot Price. And let me tell you, this past week, she released a whole new album. And I tell you, that new album and the fact that it was our album of the week, it could not have came out at a much better time than it did. Even she performed some of her stuff. Man, she probably had one of the most beautiful Gibson acoustic guitars I ever saw, and even had a custom guitar strap of her own with her name on it. And I was like, that almost feels Waylon Jennings-esque right there, because Waylon Jennings had something like that. We just clicked immediately because of our love for both Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, and it was just a great time. Margot Price, without a doubt, is such a sweetheart. She was so incredibly nice. Like, she is just amazing. Even her set in particular was so amazing. And oh man. And the really cool thing is that Riverfest was her first stop on her tour that she's doing. So it's kind of like an honor thing. Lastly, we have Courtney Barnett, who, as far as I know, because I can't remember who was the headliner for the first Riverfest, I think Courtney Barnett, I think maybe the first female main eventer that we had. Because when it comes to like these artists who go last in our headliners, I always think of them as the main event. She and her, let me tell you, she has a drummer who was the most badass female drummer I have ever seen in my entire life. They're all from Australia, and you can tell when you hear them talk like normal people. And I always love women with accents, foreign accents in particular. I don't know why, I just love them. I got an opportunity to meet Courtney in the backstage area, and she was just amazing. She and her band did a sound check right around 9 or 10 a.m., and it was pretty much, I think, the majority of the music that they ended up playing during their set. There was one song in particular, Pedestrian at Best. I will also include it in the description below. She ended up playing that song during not just the sound check, but during her live set. And it just so happened that was the first song that I started my show on Friday with. So it's kind of like a badge of honor thing, if you ask me. I think that probably might be my most favorite song from her. You know? And as soon as she got off stage, right before I was about to leave to head home because I was so fucking tired, I ended up saying to her, and I quote, "Miss Barnett, You almost, with that rebellious style you had and that attitude you showed, you almost reminded me of Joan Jett. And oh my God, she loved that comment. She said that probably might have been one of the nicest compliments she ever got from anyone. And one more thing I'm gonna mention right before I get off this vlog. I was heading back to the stage from the radio station because I needed some aspirin to try and cure some of the pain and stiffness I was having in my legs. And one of my close friends in particular was with somebody who was from the Star Tribune, and which is one of the big newspapers up here in northern Minnesota. And this reporter wanted to interview me about the importance of KAXZ and the importance of Riverfest. And I was more than happy to talk to them. It was like one of those, what the hell just happened kind of moments I was having. Like, I was like, what? It's just amazing that I'll say this. I have grown a lot of fans in the 3 years that I've been doing this. And there was so many fans that were seeing me and they were just like, I really love the style that you have. You have a unique style to what you play on your shows. And I was like, one of the main things that I always tell people is simply this. I believe that a playlist that a radio DJ makes pretty much resembles them or represents their character in particular. Like me, with my music that I played, I'm a rebellious, I'm a rebel, I'm an outlaw, and I do not succumb to the system. Hell, I mean, if the FCC don't exist, do you have any idea how much Rage Against the Machine I'd be playing? Or the likes of NWA, 2 Live Crew? But no. Nobody wants to hear curse words on the air, which is why I keep it PG, obviously. Or at least double check and triple check to make sure that songs that I'm playing do not have swear words. But overall, it was such an amazing day. Even if the weather was so crappy and whatnot, I just wish it would have done more better for weather-wise. But the artists and headliners, such amazing people, and I do plan to listen to them a lot more moving forward. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this vlog. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. I'm going to go back in the living room and put on some MASH because I'm in the mood for some MASH. If you all want to continue to support me, consider subscribing to the Roger Radio Show. Hit the like button. Hit that bell to be notified when I'll upload. And if you want to see other content from me, be sure to go subscribe to my co-host Aegis Don Levity's channel, the Interrobang Group. I'm over there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for the support and love you have given me. I have never felt so much more grateful than I am right now to be a part of this journey and to continue to see what the future holds. As always, until next time, ta-ta for now!